Welcome to Curious Nightmares, the channel where your darkest fears and deepest curiosities collide. Prepare for spine-tingling tales and eerie explorations into the supernatural. Subscribe and stay tuned for hair-raising stories. In a quiet, picturesque house located in Salem, Massachusetts, lived a family of four: a mother, a father, a teenage daughter, and her older brother. The siblings, born and raised in this historical town, had always shared a strong bond. The boy Dale was 17 and enjoyed a well-kept room in the basement filled with technology, including a PlayStation, a flat-screen TV, and various gadgets. He loved playing online games with friends and was a skilled hockey player and an excellent student. Dale was also in a loving relationship with a girl from school, a bit nerdy but undeniably cute, and they made a great couple. They had been dating for about a year and had plans to graduate together in 2018, after which they wanted to take a break and travel the world. Dale's younger sister, Kate, who was 16, had her room in the attic. She was passionate about painting and had an entire space dedicated to her canvases. At school, Kate had a couple of close friends, David and Lori, whom she adored. They had been friends since pre-kindergarten. Kate's usual dress code consisted of jeans, a t-shirt, and Chuck Taylor shoes. She had long, dark brown hair, typically styled in a bun. Kate and her friends were part of the school's photography club, responsible for taking pictures of various school functions, developing them, and showcasing them on the school's walls, website, and yearbooks. Excitement buzzed through the high school when they announced a field trip to Pioneer Village, America's first living history museum, built in 1930. All the students were thrilled, and Kate and her friends planned to document the entire trip with their cameras. This included capturing shots of their fellow students and the chaperones. Dale was part of the adventure as well, accompanied by his girlfriend and a few friends. They laughed, explored the historical exhibits, and attempted to spook his girlfriend and others. Everyone walked together, checking out various attractions. Dale, as the protective older brother, occasionally glanced back to ensure Kate was okay. Last he checked, she was behind him, taking pictures of a group of friends who were sharing a jovial moment. However, when he turned around again, Kate was nowhere to be seen. Dale scanned the area without drawing attention to his concern, but couldn't spot Kate. At first, he assumed she might have needed to use the restroom, so he didn't think too much of it. Some time passed, and when he checked it again, Kate was still absent. Worried, Dale approached David and Lori, who had been walking with Kate. He inquired about Kate's whereabouts. Their bewildered expressions told him something was wrong. David began to point behind him, about to say, "She's right." But both he and Lori realized that Kate wasn't behind them. David stated, "I could have sworn she was right behind us taking pictures." As they were about to start searching for Kate, she suddenly appeared, as if emerging out of thin air. Startled, Dale asked, "Where were you?" in a slightly annoyed tone. Dale and Kate shared a close bond, always looking out for each other. However, Kate's response was unusual, and she muttered, "Trying to get away from you," as she passed by them and walked towards the other students. Dale was caught off guard by Kate's behavior, as she wouldn't usually act this way unless something was seriously wrong. He decided to give her some time to cool off, confident she would talk to him when she was ready. Lori and David shrugged their shoulders at Dale, offering an apology for the unusual behavior, and followed Kate in the direction she had walked off to. Lori affectionately called her Kiki, a nickname they'd used since they were children. However, Kate walked on, seemingly in a world of her own, as she maneuvered through the other students, lost in her thoughts. Throughout the rest of the trip, Kate remained unusually quiet, even though Lori could be very persistent at times. Typically, Kate would give in, but not this time. At the end of the field trip, all the students boarded the bus for the journey back to school. Kate was the first to enter the bus, heading all the way to the back and taking a seat next to the window. Lori followed her and sat beside her, while David sat in the seat in front of them. Lori tried to check on Kate, but Kate simply let out a sigh, leaned her head back, and stared out of the window. Lori, not wanting to push her, decided to let her be. She offered a friendly gesture of reassurance by placing her hand on Kate's. It was then that Lori noticed the necklace around Kate's neck. She thought to herself, how exquisite. She wasn't wearing that earlier, I'm sure of it. With her attention momentarily diverted, David jokingly stated, "Earth to Lori, come in," pretending to speak through a megaphone formed with his hands. Lori, being the lively and outgoing friend she was, turned around, gazing past David and said, I could have sworn I heard someone calling me," appearing puzzled. She then glanced at David, and they both shared a laugh. On the bus ride, students chatted and laughed, and so did David and Lori. However, Kate never took her eyes off the window, which was odd, but she didn't say a word. Back at Pioneer Village, Kate had gotten carried away with taking pictures of the scenery, gradually distancing herself from the rest of the group. In her enthusiasm, she stepped on something rather hard. When she momentarily diverted her attention from the camera to see what she had stepped on, she realized it was a pendant. The pendant was beautiful, despite being covered in dirt. It had a mirror-like stone at its core, radiating an enchanting aura. It dangled from a delicate pewter chain, evoking an intriguing historical charm. Kate carefully cleaned the pendant and decided to wear it. The moment the necklace fell over her head and settled around her neck, she felt an unusual sensation, almost as if another person was waking up inside her. Kate grew lightheaded for a moment and leaned on a nearby tree for balance. Her vision blurred briefly, and she attempted to regain her composure by squeezing her eyes shut. Gradually, her balance returned, and she removed her hand from the tree. With the pendant now adorning her neck, Kate began to walk toward the commotion created by the other students. Something felt strange, like she was walking through a dream, or, more accurately, as if she were walking through someone else's dream. As she approached her friends, she overheard them talking with her brother. Kate had planned to pass them without drawing much attention. She had a sense that something inside her was shifting, and she didn't want to involve her friends or her brother just yet. Why can't I seem to get it together? What is going on? Kate wondered. I feel like I'm walking through someone else's dream. It's like I have control of myself and I don't. Maybe it's the pendant. Then Dale said, "Where were you?" She uttered words she didn't intend to say, trying to get away from you. Kate was perplexed by her own words and actions. She had a strong bond with Dale, and she'd never want to hurt him. Since their parents had brought her home, Dale had been a proud and caring older brother. The guilt washed over her as she saw the hurt expression on his face, realizing she had said something hurtful that she didn't mean. Kate had a sudden epiphany. Wait, if I'm the passenger, who's driving? Panic began to set in. Her emotions were in turmoil, but she realized that something extraordinary was happening, and her usual fear was absent. Kate continued to observe her surroundings and her classmates. Despite being unable to communicate with her friends, the calm feeling that enveloped her felt strangely familiar. It was like a long-forgotten dream, whispering her name in the wind or the warmth of a summer night under the stars. She recognized it, but the experience remained enigmatic. As they returned to the bus, Kate took her seat, leaned her head back, and stared out the window. She felt like she was waiting for something, and her mind was full of questions. After a moment, Kate heard a woman's voice, ancient and soothing, echoing in her mind. "Who are you? Can you hear me?" Kate spoke inwardly, directed at the mysterious voice. The woman's voice, ancient and wise, replied, "I am from long ago. I've been waiting patiently for you." "Sarah Good," she introduced herself. The name triggered a distant memory in Kate, and she realized that Good was her great-grandmother's maiden name. Sarah and Kate engaged in a unique conversation, discussing the past, how Sarah came to be hung, and the pendant. In time, Sarah began to teach Kate the art of magic. Sarah's motivations were far from altruistic. She had vowed to take revenge on those who played a part in her death. Her vengeance knew no bounds, and Kate was unwittingly being drawn into a dark form of witchcraft. Kate excelled in learning this magic, not realizing its sinister nature, as Sarah manipulated her thoughts. Kate's friendly demeanor allowed Sarah to assume control without raising any suspicions. Kate found herself in the woods one night, unaware of how she had arrived there. Sarah claimed not to remember either. The truth was that Sarah was hunting down the remaining Paris family members and their descendants, night after night. Each night, Sarah performed a dark ritual in the woods, guided by her dark purpose. She followed the mystical path leading her to the home of her next victim. There, she cast spells, inflicting them with illness. Her intent was not to kill quickly, but to make them suffer. With each victim, Sarah grew stronger, inching closer to breaking free from the Pendant's prison. Kate began to lose control over her actions. She was unable to stop the malevolent force within her from driving her into the woods. Sarah's power over Kate was undeniable. Kate was increasingly aware of her loss of control, and she feared the consequences. She knew she needed to remove the pendant to regain control of her life, free from Sarah's influence. Her friends, David and Lori, had become estranged from her due to her erratic behavior, leaving her feeling isolated and vulnerable. One fateful night, Kate woke up in her brother's room. Sarah had drawn a pentagram on the floor and was chanting. Kate panicked, realizing that her brother's life was in danger. She screamed, startling both Dale and Sarah. Dale was quick to respond and turned on the lamp, demanding to know what was happening. In a state of shock, Kate uttered, "Save me, Pendant." Sarah, cunningly, acted as if she had been having a nightmare and left the room. Kate tried to communicate with Sarah, pleading with her not to harm her brother. But Sarah was unyielding, and her vengeance was all-consuming. The next morning at breakfast, Dale examined the pendant around Kate's neck and complimented her on it. He reached out to touch it, but Sarah was swift to grab it, stating that she had found it. Kate could only watch, unable to control her own body. "Well, I'm off to school," said Sarah. "I'll give you a ride," said Dale. They both walked out and got in the car. Dale persisted, asking where Kate was. Sarah responded, "She is still here, but not for long." Her intentions were clear, and she didn't hide her malevolence. Dale, baffled by the situation, directed his attention to the pendant. Before Sarah could react, Dale seized the pendant, ripping it from Kate's neck. Kate gasped in relief, finally regaining control of her body. Overwhelmed, she burst into tears and covered her face with her hands. "Kate, is that you?" Dale questioned, a mixture of concern and confusion on his face. Kate looked at her brother and sobbed, "Thank you for saving me. I thought I was lost forever." Dale comforted her with a hug, and Kate explained everything that had happened. Dale was stunned by her revelation, and they decided to get rid of the pendant. They took it to a river far away and threw it somewhere it would never be found. The nightmare had come to an end, but it took time for things to return to normal. Kate, Lori, and David planned a sleepover to celebrate their reunion. They had missed Kate, and it was an opportunity to make new memories together. On the night of the sleepover, they brought their favorite snacks, ordered pizza, and had some drinks. They watched movies, laughed, took pictures, and created cherished memories. Kate was grateful for her incredible friends who had always been there for her. In the middle of the night, Kate awoke to find herself standing over David and chanting. A dreadful realization struck her as she whispered, "Oh my God, no, Sarah." Sarah's sinister laughter filled the room. "Did you think you'd get rid of me that easily?"